Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, where today I'm going to take my my weekly trip to Purgatory, I expect. We've had an email in, you can see it on the screen there, from Glenn. And Glenn has asked me to have a look at a puzzle, which is a popular app on the iPhone. Now, apparently he gets stuck on the puzzle. I mean, he's a good solver. He's solving the hard Sudokus in 10 to 15 minutes, so he knows what he's doing. But the expert puzzle that he was trying to do, the app said he needed to use something called Bowman's Bingo in order to crack it. Now, I don't know much about Bowman's Bingo, but I believe it's basically guessing. So you guess a cell and then you try and prove a contradiction thereafter, a sort of unknown length of time later. It's an extremely unsatisfactory method in my mind, and the sign that a puzzle is probably being created by an algorithm and not a very good one. So I am, it really makes me despair that so many of the apps nowadays use computers to set the puzzles and then use algorithms to test the puzzles that don't create any sort of beauty to the solve at all. I can tell you that Mark and I are hoping to release an app reasonably soon ourselves. It's going to start with focusing on between 1 and 9 Sudoku, and every puzzle in that app will be hand designed and will have, therefore, I hope, a measure of elegance. But what I want to try and do for Glenn today is to see whether I can solve this puzzle without using Bowman's Bingo. Now, I'll be perfectly honest with you. If I get stuck and I die a death, you'll never see this video except in a blooper reel, which is very, very possible. I mean, if the computer has evaluated it needs Bowman's Bingo, then it's probably going to be very hard. But I am going to try anyway, and we shall see how we go. So without further ado, let's start. 3s here, so that gives us a 3 in one of those two positions. No 3s in the first 3 rows, so that's a bit disappointing. But this 5, that 5, 5, 5 here, there's a 5 there. 9s into one of those two positions. 9s here, look. 5s, we can pencil mark over on the left hand side. And I'm just going to check row 6. We've got so many given digits in it, so we're going to need 2, 7, 8 and 9. So this can be a 2 or an 8, this square. Can we do anything with that? I'm not seeing how to. Okay. So what would the next number be? 4s can be pencil marked into one of those two squares. 6. Maybe I have to do this. Maybe this is just going to be monstrously hard. 7s, I guess, into one of those two. 7s in this box are more interesting. There's 7 and this 7. That means there's a 7 in one of those two positions. And that gives us another digit. So the 7's in one of these squares, and this 7, and this 7. I mean, this square down here has got to be a 7. I'm going to check this row. So 3, 4, 6 and 8. So this square is a 3 or a 4. Bother. That's as far as I can get with that. Golly, there must be more numbers I can get here. Let's check column 6. So here I need 4, 6, 8 and 9. Nothing there. 6, 5s, 4s. Hang on. There's something going on here. We've got 2 and 4 in this column. And we've already pencil marked a 7, so there's a plane going by now. So if we look at this block, you can see that the numbers 2 and 4 are going to be shuffled over into one of those 3 squares. and they match up with the 7s that we've already pencil marked. So in fact there is a triple in this box, and the numbers 2, 4 and 7. This 5 is not possible. This 5 must go here, therefore. And these two numbers are 3 and 8 to complete the block. So another way of spotting that, which I didn't spot it this way, but if we looked at the 1, 6 and the 9 from the start when this 5 wasn't placed, you can see that they are in effect forcing this square, and this square not to contain the numbers 1, 6 and 9. So we need to put the numbers 1, 6 and 9 into the only open positions down column 3. And in fact we'll do that now. So I'm actually going to fully notate this. 1, 6, 9, 1, 6, 9, 1, 6, 9. And I'm tempted already to abandon snide notation, because otherwise it's going to get quite confusing. 3, 8. Can we do anything here? 5s, 5s, 5s. No. But now this 8's more interesting. Look, because now there's an 8 coming across, so we can pencil mark 8's there. Ah, hang on. And this square I'd said was a 2 or an 8, I think. Let's just check that. 2, 7, 8, 9 along here. So this can be a 2, it can't be a 7, it can't be an 8 now, and it can't be a 9. So that is a 2. And that means we can remove the, in fact the top cell is a 2 as well. 2, 2, 7, 7, 4. 4s, one of these is a 4 and this 4, so this is now a 4. Now remembering, I think I pencil marked 9s in this block. Yes, I did. So now this square must be a 9. It's the only place a 9 can go in this 3 by 3 because of the pencil marked 9s here. So this is no longer a 9. We've got a 1, 6 pair now in column 3. And we haven't checked. Can I do anything with this 4? No. It's only 2 positions for a 4 now in row 9 though. And these 3 squares have got to be, what's that going to be, 5, 8 and 9. So let's actually highlight those. 5, 8, 5, 8, 9. So this must be, what's it going to be, 1, 3, 6 into these 3 squares here. So 1, 3, 6, 1, 3, 6, like that. Aha! Now, let's look at, so thinking about this 916 here, I notice this 416 over this side. Now that is saying this square and this square and this square cannot obviously contain the numbers 1, 4 and 6. Now we already have a 7 and a 9 in row 5, so there are 4 positions open for 3 numbers. But look at this square. This square we've got a 5 and an 8 pencil marked into, so this clearly can't be a 1, 4 or a 6 either. So the numbers 1, 4 and 6 have to occupy this square, and this square. Therefore this square cannot be a 3. And in fact that gives us a 1, 6 pair now. Yes, because I've got rid of the 3 from here. So that is a 3. And this is 1, 4, 6, and this can only be 4 or 6 therefore because of the 1 at the bottom. 1, 4, 6. Okay. 4, 6. So this square, we need 7 and 8, 7, 8 and 9 to complete row 6. So this square can only be oh, hang on. There's an 8 and a 9 pointing at this square. So this must be a 7. Sorry, I was being very slow there. I don't know how long I've been staring at that. So what does that mean, if anything? Ah, look here. We've got a 1 and an 8 in this 3 by 3 block, and a 1 and an 8 in row 2. So where can the numbers 1 and 8 go in column 5? Only here and here. So there's a 1-8 pair in column 5. Now that means we need 2, 3, 4 and 6. So this square, 3's pencil marked here. This square can be a 4 or a 6. Can we eliminate one of those options? I'm just going to check this column again. So 4, 6, 8 and 9. So this square could be 4, 6 or 8, I think. Oh, hang on. This 4. This 4. So look, I think I spotted earlier there are 2 positions for a 4 along row 9 of the grid. This square can take a 4 and this square can take a 4, because this 4 is eliminating the possibility for this square and this 4 is eliminating the possibility for this square. Now I think in row 1 we've got a similar type of thing. So where can a 4 go along here? Well, it can't go in this square, it can go in this square, it can go in this square, it can go in this square, but it can't go here. Now the critical thing that's interesting to me about these 4s is that they align in column 7. And so we can immediately start thinking about things like X-wings here. And in fact we have an exotic variety. This is the finned sashimi X-wing. And it's going to be nice. This is going to help, because let's talk about this. So how to explain what's going on? Well, if we're familiar with normal X-wings, if this square here was a 4, for example, and was the own, this could be a 4, this could be a 4. If these were the only 2 positions in row 1 that could be 4s, it's not too hard to see that the 4s in the finished grid would have to sit on the diagonals. So either this would be a 4 and this would be a 4, or this would be a 4 and this would be a 4. Now, in that arrangement, there's always a 4 either in this square or in this square, and that would allow us to look up column 5 and look down column 7 and eliminate 4s from any of the other cells. So in particular, we could get rid of this 4 here. So that's what we'd aim for with a classic X-wing. Now you may say, well, what we've got on screen now is a world away from that. Yes and no. So let's put those pencil marks back in and think about what they mean. So, and this is the power of this arrangement, because there are 2 possible states of the world when we look at the finished solution to this puzzle. In the first state, this 4 will be true. Now if this 4 is true, let's have a look at the effect on row 9. If this 4 is true, this is not true, and therefore this 4 is true. There are only 2 positions for 4, remember, in row 9. So if this 4 is true, this 4 is true, and we could eliminate this 4. Now let's ask ourselves the question, well, what happens if this 4 is not true? Well, if this 4 is not true, one of these 4s is true. I don't know which one, but I don't care, because it is in this 3 by 3 block, and therefore this square in that situation cannot be a 4. So either way, there is not a 4 in this square. And this is called a sashimi finned X-wing. It's called sashimi because in a normal X-wing this square would have the option of being a 4. Now here it just clearly can't be a 4, it's already a 7. And it's finned because this square and this square operate as fins within the 3 by 3 block, and they allow us to do enough logic to reduce the possibilities for this square. So This square is a 6. Now, maybe that will help. Well, yes, it gives us a 6 here, look. Just simple Sudoku, 6, 6, 6. 6 down here. We've still not had to use Bowman's Bingo. And there's a nice trick we can do. In fact, there's loads of stuff going on here. So this 6 now is locking a 6 into this position and this position in this 3x3 block. Now that resolves 6 there, also puts a 6 in here. Now I pencil marked 8s in, so I'm going to trust that they were correct. Gives us an 8 here, an 8 here, and an 8, oh, what's going on? An 8 in one of these two squares. Now you can see, now the 8 in this 3x3 block is locked into either row 4 or row 5, and the 8 in this 3x3 block, I've not placed it yet, don't know where it goes, but I do know actually, if I think about it, it must be in this position or this position, so can't go in either of these two squares, so this 8 must be true. There's an 8 in one of these two squares, therefore this 8 must be true. That resolves all of this down here. 9, 9, this must be a 9 now. This is a 9, and maybe we're on the right lines to cracking the puzzle. This 9 resolves the 9 and the 6 at the bottom. Now this 1, 6 is part of a 1, 6 pair in the column, so this now must be a 1. This is a 6, this is a 1. And if everything's working out properly, I put 5 here. That looks okay. So 5 in one of those two squares. This is 2, 3 and 4 down here. So this is a 2 or a 3, this is a 2 or a 4. This should be a 3 or a 4, which I can't quite resolve yet. Now remember, by the way, just to go back to the concept of X-swings, if this had been the only possibility for a 4 in this 3x3 block, so we knew that the 4 was either here or here in row 1, then we would have been able to eliminate this 4. But with a finned sashimi X-swing, I can't use this technique to eliminate this 4, because if either of the fins is true, neither of the fins see this square. So I can't actually use the X-swing technique to eliminate this 4. I just have to leave it there. I'm going to have to resolve it another way. Now we've got 1 here, look. So now this square must be a 4, 6, 4, 6. So is this a 2, 3 pair to complete the row? Which means this is a 5 and this is a 7. Which means this is a 5. 7's into one of those two squares. Therefore this must be a 7. This is 2, 4 to complete row 8. We must need 1, 2 and 8 along here. Now what can we do? Yeah, we can get that. That's an 8. That's a 1. That's a 2. Now is this pencil marked? Yes, this was part of a 1, 8 pair, wasn't it? So this is an 8. Therefore this is 8. This is 3. This is the only place for a 3 now in this 3x3 block. You can see actually, I think the puzzle's solved actually. I think we are incredibly close to a solution now. We have to put a 1 here. This must be a 4. This must be a 1. This must be a 1. Sorry, I'm just checking because I don't want to make a mistake. The worst thing possible in a video like this is that you make a mistake at this point and you have to throw it away. So now this is the only place a 3 can go in the column. Tempting to use uniqueness. It's a bit lazy of me to do it, but I'll just show you the trick. Now if we look at what the possibilities are in this 3x3 block, we've got to place 2, 4 and 7. So in theory, ignore this 2 just for the moment, I'll show you. Actually we can leave the 2 there. This can be a 4, 7, and this in theory could be 2, 4 or 7. But look, we have a 4, 7 pair here. Now if I eliminate the possibility of a 2 from this square, so that in the finished grid this was a 2, look what happens. We now have this deadly arrangement of 4s and 7s where the puzzle that we are seeing in front of us cannot disambiguate between which way round these 4 7s go. These 4 7s sit outside the rest of the puzzle because no other square impacts upon their values. I can pick a value. I could say, oh, this could be a 4, that means this would be a 4, 7, 7, but it's equally valid just to say this is a 7. 7, 7, 4, 4. Columns would still have the numbers 4 and 7 in them. The boxes would still have 4 and 7. The rows would still have 4 and 7. Nothing else would change. So I can use that fact, if I want to conclude that actually this square has to be a 2. Now, I don't know that we're going to actually need uniqueness, but I'm just noting that if I was speed solving this, I would immediately write a 2 in here and move on. And you can see that writing a 2 in here completely breaks the puzzle open because it allows us to disambiguate this box as well. But we'll come back to that. We may not actually need it. So 2 and 3 here. 6 and 4 can be resolved in the middle just by this 6. In fact, there's a 7 there, so that becomes 2, 4. It's interesting, isn't it? So we end up in this situation. I may be missing something. I'm not going to spend too long on it. But it does look to me like the way I need to avoid a problem with uniqueness here. No, okay, there's only one place a 3 can go, look, in this column. And that's going to tidy it up. Yeah, okay. So that was, yeah, it was resolvable by normal means. This must be a 3. This is a 2. That means 3, 2, 4, 3, 4, 2, 4, which we knew it was going to have to be a 4 because we knew this cell would have to be a 2. 7, 4, 7. So it would have just been quicker to use uniqueness, but still the puzzle's fine without needing that assumption, which is at least something. So yeah, not a massive fan, I have to say, of the app that created this puzzle. It wasn't actually a terrible puzzle to solve, but why on earth you think you need to use Bowman's Bingo to solve it? You don't. You needed a Fin Sashimi X-Wing, which is a perfectly valid technique, and I hope that for those of you watching the video, you got something out of seeing me struggle through it. Quite a long video, 23 minutes, so yeah. And sorry about that for yesterday as well. Some of it, oh no, the day before yesterday, some of you said that even though the videos get a bit long, you really like seeing the final stages of solving. So I've certainly racked up some time on the clock today. If you enjoy the content, please subscribe. We really appreciate it. If any of you are in a position to sponsor us on Patreon, that would be massively appreciated as well. Thanks for watching. We'll be back again soon with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.